All right, all right. What's up, everyone? Kevin Allen here, aka the Geek, and we are breaking down the Thursday night showdown. Chargers at the Raiders, division rivalry, close game, high scoring, 48.5 point over under. Chargers a minor 1.5 point road favorite. This should be a really, really fun game. Finally, for one of the primetime games. So I'm excited about this one because there's so many different options available on the slate. FanDuel, DraftKings, really different strategies we have going on. But before we get into the breakdown, team specific, let's take a look at the game from an overall perspective. Now, the first thing I go to every time I look at, especially a showdown, but pretty much everything, is the Statsational Power Rankings tab. If you're a DFS Army member, you click on Beat the Bookie, you go over to NFL, click on Power Rankings. You can see this for yourself. DFS Army VIPs only. Okay, so what are we looking at here? This is a breakdown of how each team sort of performs, and we have this broken down by team. Let's go to the specific for this week's projection, and then I'll go back to the raw numbers just to prove it for all intents and purposes. But if you look at this game, we've got the Chargers at Oakland. The model shows that the Chargers should only be expecting about 59 rushing yards. Not very good. Oakland, 144 rushing yards. Very good. So that favors Josh Jacobs in this situation and would be a slight negative to Gordon and Eckler. I have further explanation of that, though, coming up. Next, we have passing yards for. So it looks like the Chargers generally are going to be throwing here. Oakland can't stop the pass. The Chargers want to pass. The matchup dictates Chargers throwing, Oakland running the football. So that's the baseline from which we can start to assume the most likely game flow in this particular game. Now, in case you don't believe those numbers or you want to know where they came from, take a look here at Oakland, and you can see Oakland above average rushing. So in an average situation against an average defense, Oakland would rush for 25 more yards than the average NFL team. That's what this number stands for. Passing, they're about neutral. So they're about a neutral team when it comes to passing yardage. Defensively, Oakland is better against the rush. So an opponent would be expected to rush for 20 less rushing yards than they would against an average team in an average situation. But Oakland is particularly bad against the pass. And therefore, according to these numbers, if you're attacking the Raiders, you want to attack via the pass. They give up more yardage via the pass than your average team. Now let's take a look at the Chargers. And I will always call them San Diego. Even if they've changed teams, it's going to take me a while to get the LA thing down, guys. I'm sorry. But power rating, okay, this is basic stuff. But again, offensive rankings, defensive ratings, offensive rushing. Again, this is where that negative rushing number comes from. The Chargers could be expected on average this season to rush for 33 less yards in a neutral situation than a neutral team. So they are significantly below average in terms of rushing yardage. Okay, passing yard, and there's a few reasons for this. Passing yardage, they are above average. That's where those numbers come from. Now, the one caveat I have is there's a new offensive coordinator in town for the Chargers, and last week they did lean a little bit more heavy on the running game, so maybe there is a new dynamic in play. But for now, this is what we need to expect. So that gives us our breakdown of what to expect right off the bat in terms of these two teams. Let's take a look at the cheat sheet that Josh DFS Up North put together. You know, I use this as well. What you have here, this is DFS Army Premium subscribers get access to these cheat sheets for every sport, every slate, every breakdown. There's something like this with confidence ratings. It's awesome. Love being part of the DFS Army. But for tonight's showdown, you see Josh put together his breakdown of who his favorite captains are, what kind of exposures to get, confidence ratings in them, and so on and so forth. I'm pretty close to an agreement here. So there's not too much I'm going to change about this. Just looking it over even right now, I love Hunter Henry. I love his salary. Josh Jacobs, very playable there. Waller. This is going to be one of those times, and it's fun, when there's no clear-cut, easy choice. There's going to be a very, very wide spread of potential different captains, different MVPs for each site. So we're going to break that down. We're going to go over it. I will give you my favorites and some exposures that I like. We're starting with DraftKings. So what I like to do first, and I was told to do a full game team breakdown, position breakdown before I get deep into the specifics of the slate itself. So let's just take a look real quick at the Chargers. Now in Los Angeles. Let's make that screen a little bigger for you guys. LA Chargers. So we're looking at the Charger side, and obviously Phillip Rivers, one of the best plays, one of the most expensive on the slate, but certainly one of the best plays. The Chargers are a team that wants to run the football, that wants to pass. Now, Rivers, he's not a lock to always put up big numbers. Last week in particular, they leaned on the run quite a bit. Didn't really need a whole lot of Phillip Rivers here, but I'm not, the matchup this week dictates more of a passing heavy script. Now, that said, you've got a number of games out of Rivers this year where he's crossed over 20 points and, 20, 23 points. That's going to be competitive for the highest score on the slate. I don't know if on a points per dollar basis, it'll be the best, but it's certainly competitive on this slate. I think he's one of a few potential best scorers on the slate, but I have maybe a slightly better one for a little bit less money here that we'll get to. But Rivers in play, I would have around 10 to 15% exposure to him. My next favorite is actually my favorite captain play this week is going to be Hunter Henry. And the reason I like him is for the savings. Listen, 10 targets, 6 targets, 8 targets, 9. This guy has been a target machine more than anyone else on this Chargers passing offense over the last few weeks. And if you compare him to Keenan Allen, you'll see he's got the 10 11s, but short passing yardage work, not doing a whole lot the last few weeks. 4, 6, some low numbers, 6, 5. Keenan Allen is a player that needs this amount of volume to really crush. He needs 10, 15 targets a game. He doesn't get a lot of yardage with his playmaking. So I think he's going to be a name that people flock to. I think he's got a fairly high floor, but I'm a little concerned about paying up and the salary for him, and I certainly don't want a ton of it. Like, I'd put him, less exposure than definitely less than Rivers, Jacobs, some of those other names that I think are much more likely to put up a better score on a points per dollar basis compared to Keenan Allen here. So we love Hunter Henry. Mike Williams, very expensive considering 7,400, considering 3 targets last week, 6. Again, not a target monster. He's definitely a guy we want in our GPP mix, but floor lower than some of these other guys. So it's important to keep that in mind. Again, I should be on the flex so we can see the real numbers here. Melvin Gordon finally had a big week last week, but it is worth noting it took him a lot to get there. Green Bay's run defense is absolutely atrocious, and most of his scoring was done off of these 2 touchdowns. He did get lots of passing game work, so Melvin Gordon absolutely in the mix this week. It's the Raiders. We're not scared of the Raiders defense. So absolutely, we want to play some Melvin Gordon. He can break the slate open. Austin Eckler to a lesser extent, but still out there getting a lot of opportunities for the Chargers. If they continue their run heavy game script, which they did last week, and they said before the game that they would be doing that. They said it before the game last week. They said we want to emphasize the run, and they did it. And I played Melvin Gordon, and he was almost in my perfect FanDuel winning lineup if it wasn't for overtime when they threw to DK Metcalf instead of allowing my boy Winston an opportunity in overtime to throw it to Evans and deliver me the win. So shit happens. But I played Melvin Gordon last week. He was on my list, and that was a good play. So Gordon, Eckler, playable, but both going to eat from each other, and the matchup is not the best. Moving down the list, Oh, man, I loves me some Money Badger. Okay, I love this dude. Love him. I'm gonna load up on the Money Badger, guys. 3,800. The Chargers just kick a lot of fucking field goals. They're that kind of team. This guy is money. He's the Money Badger. He's got a cool nickname. I love cool nicknames for kickers. That is always a good sign. If a kicker has a cool nickname, it's a good thing. Okay? Wait, let me get serious. If a kicker has a nickname, if his name is Legatron, that's an awesome thing. You want to play that kicker. If a kicker is called the Money Badger because his kicks are money, that's a reason to play him. Okay? DFS lesson. DFS 101, guys. Play kickers with cool nicknames. Very important. Sophisticated. We've done studies on it. It works. Okay. Love the Money Badger. As the kicker for the Chargers, going to load up on that dude. He allows you to afford. He's a must play in cash. I like both the kickers in this game, but we'll get to that. Love the kicker. Where am I? Okay. One more player to talk about. That's it. Where my turds at, right? Guys, in the comments section, what's up, Antoine? Doesn't anybody want to know where my turds are at? No one's asking? I'm going to tell you where the turds are at. There are not too many turds on this Chargers team. We know who the players are, right? Everybody's expensive. Chargers defense, playable. They just dominated the Packers. Why can't they dominate again? Joey Bosa didn't go anywhere. He's still there. Derek Carr doesn't suck any less than he always has. He sucks as a quarterback. It doesn't mean he can't play well, but he sucks. So, yeah, we're going to play some Chargers defense. Sure. Division game. Where my turds at? Okay, man, this is a pretty big turd. Virgil Green hasn't done shit since Hunter Henry comes back. You play this turd, you're not only hoping that Hunter Henry gets hurt, but you're also hoping that Virgil Green actually does anything after he gets hurt, which is like a virtual impossibility. No. There's only one turd in this game, guys. One turd. That is Andre Patton. Now, who the fuck is Andre Patton? I hear you. I hear you in the comments. Who the fuck is Andre Patton? I don't know. But all I know is this guy's getting a ton of snaps on this team. I don't know why, where he's the WR3. There's no more Benjamin. He's gone for the season. All these other guys are out. And Andre Patton, he's the guy who's out there. Has he gotten a target? No. Not since week 4. But he's running 80+% of the routes, maybe more, for the Chargers. So it's going to be Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Andre Patton with Hunter Henry as the tight end. Now, what does this mean? Can they throw it to Andre Patton? Sure. Can he get a touchdown? It's possible. Will he pay off on the $200 salary? Very possible. So let's say you wanted a turd in here and just like, hey, I want to afford great stuff. Andre Patton will be out there for most of the snaps. That's my turd. Now, we got a lot more turds on the other side. We're going to get to that. So that was the Chargers breakdown. How is the most likely attack for them? It's going to come through the air with Phillip Rivers throwing to Hunter Henry, throwing to Mike Williams, throwing to Keenan Allen, throwing to Gordon or Eckler. It's hard to predict. So one of the beautiful things about playing Rivers as even a captain, forget about MVP. We love him as an MVP in this game on FanDuel. But even as a captain on DraftKings, because of the way that the Chargers spread the football around to all these different guys, it's possible that Rivers does damage, but, he throws one to Gordon, he throws one to Eckler, Hunter Henry gets a touchdown, that not any one of those guys are smashing. Maybe he throws one to the fucking turd. Patton. I don't know. It could happen. He's out there every snap. So there's your breakdown. Of course, need to figure out how to get those alerts on a different screen. There's your breakdown of the Chargers. Let's talk about the Raiders. Okay. Again, Statsational power rankings. What does it tell me? Raiders going to want to run the football in this one. A little passing, but they're going to want to run it. It also likes the Raiders to win. But John has told me not to use that. Not to go by that he doesn't use it, so I'm not going to use it. Not betting based on that. But nonetheless, where my turds at? Oakland starts with Derek Carr. Derek Carr has not been a high-scoring quarterback this season. He hasn't passed 20 fantasy points. His likelihood of scoring over 20 points, he needs to get to 300 yards. He's been really close. Look at these numbers, especially the last few weeks. 289, so close to a big game. So he absolutely has it in him. He has it in him. We're going to keep him in the mix for MVP, for captain. He's in the mix. He's been great. I know he's a fucking turd. He's been great. Derek Carr, he's been so good. I'm going to start to train myself to call him Derek instead of David Carr. Like, he's earned that right. As soon as I said that, he's going to tank today. He's going to be shit today. But sorry about that for anybody who's playing him. I just jinxed it. But yeah, Derek Carr, pretty good spot here. Again, we're expecting more from the running game from the Chargers, but this is a single game. Anything can happen, right? So it's just about what percentage we want to put of each player in each position. And again, with this Raiders team, they really spread it around even more than the Chargers do, right? So with Carr, we give him about, of being the nuts play, I'll probably have him about 10% as my captain. I'm going to spread exposure around like crazy this week. So, take it or leave it, whatever you want. But I'll have about 10% as my DraftKings captain. I'll probably have a little more on FanDuel, maybe like 15% to 20% on FanDuel, about 20%, let's say 15 to 20. But on DraftKings, it's going to be about a 10%er for me. I normally don't like quarterbacks as much on DraftKings as my captain. They tend to be very expensive because they're higher floor players, but their ceilings aren't as high as their position players. So that's a difference. Like, high floor players tend to be priced very high on these sites, but it's the same thing with the kicker. He's got a really high floor, but no ceiling. I don't get that. They're way too cheap. Well, we're going to like those kickers too, man. We've got a couple of great kickers in this game, especially, the Money Badger. It's all I care about. But all right, next up, we've got Josh Jacobs. Love Josh Jacobs. 28 carries last week. Are you shitting me? Does not get much work in the pass. Doesn't score a lot of fantasy points via the pass. But my boy gets a shitload of runs. So the floor is low because if he doesn't score a touchdown, he doesn't cross 100, he's not going to get you a ton of points. He's very expensive. But, the model says rushing for Oakland. So there's a few different ways this game script can play out. One of which is Oakland's playing well defensively. It's a close back and forth game. Now Oakland is not favored. They're a home underdog. So home underdogs, we really like with home underdogs, the quarterback. That's a great spot for a quarterback play, but it negatively affects the running back. So yeah, Carr's playable here. Again, better on FanDuel for me than DraftKings, but if he can cross this threshold, and this is just variance, 289, 285, 293. I mean, this is just variance. He's getting you 20. He's looking great at that point. You're like, oh, 23, 26, 21. We'd be thinking Carr was the fucking shit. Like, he would have come off a string of really great games. So, don't sleep on this dude. Like Antoine said. Thank you, Antoine. I know you guys want to get to my turds, but let's continue to break down this Raiders team. Now, again, Jacobs is going to be very popular. There is risk with him. No targets. Rarely is he getting targeted. 2, 3. It's not a lot. So if he's not churning out yardage via his legs, you're probably not winning the tournament in a lineup that you have him in. So don't go all in on a dude like that. Jacobs, probably going to be a 15%er for me. 10 to 15%er as my DraftKings captain. Now, at most, maybe 10%. Darren Waller, we all know Darren Waller, been playing him all season, been doing great with him. Tight end, gets plenty of targets, coming off a turd game. Got a miracle. I thought he got a miracle touchdown last week to save it. Now, he got one long play, kind of okay, but he certainly didn't pay off his salary. He's going to need to get back to the 7-8 target ways that he's had to really pay off here. He's a good play. I prefer Hunter Henry if I'm comparing the two tight ends this week. I think Hunter Henry's got a better path. But either guy, playable. Waller, playable. Tyrell Williams, same deal. He scores a touchdown most weeks. Didn't score one last week. In terms of the matchup itself, he's going to see Hayward in coverage. That's not a good matchup. So Tyrell Williams, a little bit of a downgrade. That's a little upgrade for Waller for me, just matchup wise. Okay, now let's start to talk about the turd everybody loves. Everybody loves Hunter. Not you, Hunter. Hunter Renfrow. Everybody loves Hunter Sinclair also. And Renfrow. But no one loves actual Hunter. It's weird. It's weird. Like people who hunt animal. Like prize hunters. No one loves prize hunters. Some people do, but most people don't. I don't mind a hunter for deal. What the fuck am I talking about? We're breaking down a showdown. You guys are confusing me. All right. Hunter Renfrow. Big game last week. 7 targets, 17, scored a touchdown last 2 weeks in a row. He'll be a very popular turd. Good reason. Good reason. Got to play a little Renfrow. Got to play a little Hunter. Going to play a little bit of that. I think he will be higher owned than probably what his sort of floor is, relatively speaking, for whatever that's worth. So if you're like contrarian, you could fade him a little bit. I think he's going to be very high owned. Coming off these 2 big weeks, his price is low. You're going to need cheapies to afford anything this week. So, Hunter Renfrow is going to be fairly high owned. He's not that great of a player. He's good, and again, a couple big weeks in a row. So that's why I think he's going to be higher owned. But I mean, in many ways, the matchup justifies it because, again, Casey Hayward's going to be on Tyrell. He's not going to be on Renfrow. Now, out of the slot, I don't want to jump over, but out of the slot, we'll have Zay Jones. He's the new addition to the team. He's out there every single play. He got a ton of snaps over 90% of the snaps last week. So Zay Jones is out there. Zay Jones is playing the slot, Hunter. He's playing the slot. I think Renfro's on the outside now. So Jones is kind of in there in the slot, playing that short passing game role. We don't know. These things can change from week to week, but Zay Jones is playable, 2,600. He's out there all of the snaps, similar to the other play, that other dude, Pat and I talked about, except Zay Jones is being sort of game planned a little bit to getting some targets. I don't want to skip over a couple of things here. Daniel Carlson, has he been the prolific kicker? No. He seems to always get 7 fantasy. I don't know how this happens. Not been a prolific kicker, but also not missing kicks. Not a field goal misser. It's been something about the Raiders offense that just hasn't produced a lot of field goal opportunities. I don't know what that is. It's pretty fucking weird. Actually, if you look at it, I've never quite seen anything like it, but the dude is a 7-point machine, which is possibly enough for 3,600, but I like Carlson. I like the other kicker, the Money Badger, a little bit better. A lot of turds in this one to talk about. Raiders defense, okay. Not a high-scoring unit. I don't like this spot for them, but, contrarian, you could play a couple shares. Definitely not a MVP candidate, or very different from the last few showdowns. Jalen Richard will do his best in a scenario where the Raiders are playing from behind. But even in a close, high-scoring game, you could see here, he could do some damage. He will be used in the passing game. He does not deliver zeros most weeks. Look at this. He's not a zero guy. He's out there, and if game scripts go a certain way, he'll be used even more. So Jalen Richard, absolutely in play. He's a turd that we like. That's one of my turds. Let's do this. Got more turds. Zay Jones, talked about him. Foster Moreau. Sure, another turd that's playable. Couple targets, 3 or 4, lots of end zone targets. This is that situation where you're watching the game. You've got Waller. I want you to transport yourself forward, guys. Let me show myself for this. Transport yourself forward. I'm going to look into the camera. How do I do this? Oh, yeah. Son of a bitch. I don't even know how to do it. Anyway, transfer yourself. Oh, here we go. Look at the transform yourself forward. You're watching the game. Okay. You've got Waller as your captain. You love Waller. Got lots of Waller. You're watching Derek Carr throws to the tight end. Touchdown. Yes, motherfucker with the way. Wait, who is it? Who's that? That's not Waller. Pasty skin, red hair, pale complexion. It's Moreau. Fuck. Damn it. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Have some shares of Foster Moreau. He might catch a touchdown. 600. What's this? 2,200. He's actually a little expensive for what the fuck he brings to the table. So don't get too crazy. But yeah, he's a turd that's playable. Marcel Adaman, stay away. He seems to be being phased out for the Raiders since Zay Jones showed up. Not a guy I'm excited about. Keelan Doss, stay away. Again, phased out. Not getting looks lately. Actually, he had a few looks. Yeah, he was inactive. There it is, week 7. So he hasn't played. They made him inactive since the return of Tyrell Williams. The return of Tyrell Williams knocked a lot of these names that you might be familiar with and think that they play out. Between that and Zay Jones, you don't want a Doss. You don't want really Adaman. I don't know who this guy is, but I don't want him either. Not playing. So we want to stick with these turds that get looks. Yeah, Moreau is definitely a little too pricey. And again, you want to have some exposure to him just because he can catch that touchdown, but it's more almost of a FanDuel play. So we've just gotten into all of that. Let's talk about exposures a bit. I was getting into it a little bit earlier, but I'll kind of break this down again. We have it broken down for you here on the cheat sheet in terms of Josh DFS Up North's recommended exposures. There's nothing I'm disagreeing with too much from what I'm seeing. Rivers 10 to 15, Jacobs 25, 30 is probably a little high for me. I don't think I'm going to do that on, I mean, the matchup dictates yes, right? Again, the statsational matchup says run against the Chargers. It's a home game, but the Raiders are the slight underdogs here. There's some reasons to be concerned. So where was I? I mean, my favorites are, on DraftKings, it's probably going to be just like this. Rivers, Hunter Henry as a captain, Josh Jacobs, Derek Carr, and then get into some of these other guys. A little bit of, Allen, Waller, Gordon, Eckler, even some Mike Williams shares, stuff like that, where you get basically this group. I'm trying to think if there's anybody that he left off. Mike Williams, 5 to 10% or max. Keenan Allen, I don't want a ton of. 10 to 15 is great. Hunter Henry, I want a lot of. Yeah, I mean, these numbers are pretty solid. So I'm going to agree with most of that. I'm not seeing anybody that's missing here. I mean, you want to get silly for the milli. You can do that and take some like low possibility nuts plays like Hunter Renfrow or a defense or some shit like that. Even the Money Badger could potentially be played over there as a crazy. Let's see what it looks like with the Money Badger in there. I'm just curious. You're going to get a very high floor lineup going. I'm just going to build a quick one with Money Badger at the helm. I just want to see what that looks like. I will virtually never use a kicker as my capitan, but I just want to see what it looks like. Usually if a kicker's doing well, You probably have a defense doing pretty well. I mean, you probably play Chargers defense there. Now you can do whatever you want. I don't even think you need Chargers defense. Let's take out Chargers defense. I don't want to do that, right? Get Hunter Henry in there. You can get this doesn't work. So let's see, Hunter Henry, Rivers, Carr, Jacobs. Yeah, I mean, these are the basics, right? So you can get a little Hunter Renfro going in this one. You can put most of the stars into a lineup. You can do it a little different. You can, again, with the cheap guy over here. And again, so there's a lot of ways to construct these lineups. But if I'm doing a high floor lineup, I want my quarterbacks. I want my kickers. Who's that other dude? I want my runners. Now, unfortunately, you have to choose. You get the idea. I wouldn't do it like that. I would put like Rivers at the captain. And you have 6K left, one turd, one more good player. Done. So, something like that. But anyway, that's your basic breakdown for DraftKings. I'm still going to get to, Eckler's like 5 or 6%. All of these guys, Eckler, Gordon, you're going to get like, I'm going by the sheet for the most part. Does he not have Eckler in here? Eckler, Gordon are both under 10% captains for me. It does. The matchup doesn't favor the running game for these guys, but that the Chargers do a lot of scoring via the running back position by throwing to running backs. So Eckler can smash with 30 points here. Absolutely. I didn't see that it wasn't here. I would absolutely get exposure to him. I would absolutely get exposure to Melvin Gordon at captain as well. Spread your captain exposures around generously. Spread them around generously. There's not a clear-cut captain here. Very possible that Melvin Gordon or Austin Eckler breaks the slate open. Could happen. All right, let's look at FanDuel really quick, and then I'm going to do a quick demonstration while we have time. If we still have time. Oh, we're running out of space here in the nickel, so I'll make some FanDuel lineups in a minute. Again, just to show you affordability. Where am I? Who are our best captains potentially? I think Phillip Rivers is the top guy. I like Jacobs, of course. Hunter Henry looks really good. You get a Gordon in there. 6K left. Foster Moreau is available. This is how you use Foster Moreau. You squeeze this lineup together. Put a turd in here. Where my turd's at? That's my turd. Get a little turd in there. Get my turds. And this is how you afford all of these studs in a lineup together. You have to put a turd in there. Now, my boy Patton is playable. Don't love it, but he's playable. Where the hell is Patton? Zay Jones is playable over here? Where's Pat? Pat must be 5K. He's got to be 5. Yeah. So you can get him in there. He might get a catch. Now, I want touchdown scoring turds if I can get them. Hunt is asking, another Hunter is asking if you would play both Gordon and Eckler in the same lineup. Probably not. Maybe on DraftKings, not on FanDuel. I don't really see both guys doing it. Although it could happen. There are some game scripts that could lead to that, but no. I'm not specifically disallowing it. It's just definitely not something I'm going to try to target. In a single game, I don't try to disallow too many things. I try not to do too many rules because rules end up ruling you out of a win more often than not. It happens to me all the time. Like I set a rule. I want Rivers with 2 pass catchers, but then he spreads the football around so much that no 2 pass catchers do it, or he starts throwing to the running backs and I forget to put the running back in there. So realistically, I don't want to do a lot of rules. Since I've already broken down the slate, I'm actually going to do something a little more fun, which is a Domination Station tutorial. Now, let's have some fun. Today, we put out an update to the Domination Station optimizer that, excuse me, we put out an update to the Domination Station optimizer that changes some of it a little bit, make it easier to use. That was the goal. And part of it is Showdown. So I figure I'll use this video. Who the hell is Carrier? Another tight end? You found one I never heard of. Carrier. Oh, wait, I need to open the proper, hang on. FanDuel, NFL, single game. Let's take a look at Carrier, because Antoine says he's better than... Moreau, let's see. 0 targets last week, 4 targets October 20th. So a few weeks back, this guy got a few targets. Okay. I like, I'm still going to prefer Moreau. He's getting red zone targets. Yeah, he's not appealing to me, Antoine, but I'm not going to stop anybody from playing anyone. So I like the Moreau a little more because he's getting red zone targets, scoring tutties. I don't know about this other guy. Yeah, it looks like we have him projected for 0. So if you want to use that guy, you'll have to give him a projection. Like, oh, here's a quick lesson on how to use the Dom Station. Let's say a guy isn't showing up in your player pool. This is good. Oh, good question from John. I'm going to take that. Yes, John, I play very similar. I play cash in that. So in a high stakes contest, I'll play one entry, single entry. When you're talking high stakes, you're talking about for single game contest, I'm just going to make a cash lineup, my favorite high floor lineup, and I would put it in a high stakes contest. And when I say high stakes small, we're not talking about $33, 3,000 entrants. We're talking about $300, 15 entrants. And I just play my cash lineup in that. Or $100, 150 entrants. I'm going to play my cash lineup in something like that. That's a good question, though. Very important. That's how you make money at DFS. Attacking DFS with mass multi-entry on the Dom, that's super fun. But, we make money in those high dollar small contests. You just got to be a little bit better. And they're much sharper in terms of strategy. For a mass contest like this, part of the reason we do mass multi-entry a lot is because I want to just get back to this, but part of the reason we do mass multi-entry is because anything can happen. It's a single game. Yeah, John, for a $300 type large contest, I'm just playing my cash lineup. I want high floor. I want to let other people in the contest make the mistakes. So I'm playing my quarterbacks, my kicker, my running backs. I'm staying away from pass catch. Although this week I think I'm so confident. I'm so into Hunter Henry. I would make an exception and play him as my pass catcher. But yeah, you want Gordon in there. You want Josh Jacobs. You want the quarterbacks. Pretty straightforward approach. If I want to take a player on the Domination Station optimizer out of the excluded section, because Antoine says that he is a good play, even though our projection gives him a 0, then you could put him, you can add a manual projection. Here's one fantasy point. Watch what's going to happen. He's now not in the excluded tab. He's now available in the main player pool. That's how you do it. All right. So here we go. What's new about the Domination Station? It's not a ton. Mainly the ability to lock a player if you want as MVP or flex. A lot of people were complaining they couldn't figure out how to lock a player. I guess it's really hard to type 100% on a player like that. So you asked for it. You got it. Now you can lock a player by just clicking on lock in the MVP tab. You can try it in the flex, but if you've got him locked as an MVP, you can't also lock him as a flex. So we put that in there to stop people from doing that. And on the all players tab, you can see he's locked and you click on it and you can see it's MVP. We can change it to flex. We'd have to uncheck MVP. We can do it again. We can lock him as a flex. We can change it. So just a little more intuitive and you'll see a little something new on the readout. But let's actually, since we're here, let's make some lineups. All right, so who do we like as potential MVPs, and how do I make that happen with the optimizer? Looking at FanDuel, I think Rivers has the best shot of being the best MVP this week. I'm going to give him 30%. I'm going to put Derek Carr in there. I'm going to give him 20%. What the hell is that? I'm going to give him 20%. I'm going to put Josh Jacobs up here at 20%. I think Josh Jacobs will be very highly owned. And again, if he doesn't score a touchdown, he's not getting you there. Like Henry, give him 10. I like Melvin Gordon and Eckler as possibilities. I'll give them 10 each, let's say. Maybe 5 for Eckler. I don't know. Where are we at? 20, 40, 70, 80, 90, 95. That's it. We're almost there. We're almost there. You want to let the last 5% free float? What do you say, guys? Should we leave the last 5% free floating? I don't know. But we've set up our captains. Now, rules. Rivers, again, if he's the captain, going to get one of his pass catchers, and we're going to add a lot of names. I don't want to have too restrictive rules, so we're going to go Henry. Eckler, he's a pass catcher. I'm going to do 2 of, but we'll include both running backs. Eckler. Gordon. Williams. You want to include Patton? Fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We said Moreau. Wait, that's the other team. Who else is a pass catcher for Rivers? Keenan Allen is in there. No, I knew I was missing someone. It's crazy. Williams, Hunter Henry. So it's going to get 2 of. 2. It's going to be every. Now, again, I don't like the 2 of rule. There's only 5 players being used. This essentially forces every Rivers lineup to be 3 players from the Chargers. Right? So, okay, you can make that rule. You don't have to. I'll do the same kind of rule for Carr. If you're going to play Carr, somebody's got to be doing some damage. And it's probably not going to be Jacobs because he doesn't catch passes and run them for touchdowns. So, again, we've got Jones. Now, again, we could do a 1 of, no less than 1 of here. It doesn't have to be 2 of, but Waller, Hunter. Everybody loves a Hunter. Not Henry. Hunter, Renfro. Moreau. The Island of Foster Moreau. Waller, Hunter. Tyrell. The Gazelle. Now, I don't love Derek Carr, but again, if he's doing his thing, it's probably throwing to these guys. It's even Jalen Richard. That guy catches passes, right? So we don't think that Josh Jacobs is going to catch a lot of passes, but Jalen Richard certainly can. That's his role. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candidates for stacking with Carr. I'm trying to think if I forgot anyone. Renfro Patton. No, Patton's on the other team. We've got Renfro, Zay Jones. I got all 3 wide receivers here. Jones. I got 2 tight ends and a running back. Yep, that's it. So we'll add this rule in. Then I forgot to add the other fucking rule. Great. Good times. Live TV, live video. Let's do this again. Henry, Allen, Patton, Williams, Gordon. I don't love Gordon, but I'm going to do it. And Austin Eckler. Okay, we'll add this rule. Now, I want to run some lineups. That's it. I leave it at 1 unique. Let's do 50 lineups right now because I want to show you some other stuff here. But I do 50 lineups. I usually put a little bit of randomization in there and let it rip, right? Now, here's where it's going to get interesting. When you see the end results of these lineups, you're going to see some really cool stuff. Check this out. No, I don't include kickers with my quarterbacks. There's no correlation there. How do you feel about Zay Jones on the field for 82% of the snaps? Michael, I feel very good about it. And I like Zay Jones. He's out there. Again, I could tell you that Patton fellow has been out there also for 90%, but Zay Jones is getting some targets. So we like him. I like him a little more probably on DraftKings where the PPR might come into play. FanDuel, he's got to score touchdowns. We'll see if that happens. But Zay Jones is in play, no question. Now, check this out. I just ran 100 lineups. Now, look in the exposures box. It's pretty cool. So you've got way too much Keenan Allen. Fuck that. I'm going to deal with that. But MVP, they're as we set them up. So I must have said 25%. We left 30% Rivers. We set up the MVPs as we wanted them. Let's see who got the extra. Looks like Keenan Allen squeezed himself in there for those. Are we on DraftKings? What the hell's going on here? I'm surprised it loves Keenan Allen as much as it does on FanDuel. That's interesting. That's interesting. But here we go. So when you run it, here's a really cool thing. Now, when you check out the all tab, this is one of the changes we made. You could see the total exposure right here, but it also breaks it down by MVP and flex underneath. So you have an idea of how much of each guy you really own and where. This is just a cool new function that we have. Basic stuff that you would just want. But that is the extent of the changes in the current update specific to showdowns. Obviously, we have changes. The biggest change came to the NFL correlation stacking system, but I'll have a video on that later. But as you can see here, I ran it. I put my captains in the way I wanted, my MVPs in pretty much where I wanted them. I could see it's defaulting to Keenan Allen in shares that I didn't force. That's fine. I might make some changes here. I think I like Hunter Henry, maybe even a little more than what I'm showing here. But here's where we start to deal with the exposures. Now, I've got way too much Keenan Allen. This is a wide receiver and a guy who could totally bust. He could bust. That's way too much. He must be cheap for him to be popping as much as he is. Let me see where Allen is. Yes, he is very inexpensive, which is why we're getting a lot of exposure to him. Makes sense. Totally makes sense. Not a touchdown scorer. Actually, he's pretty good in this. For that price, I am going to leave him fairly high, but we'll go 45%. Let's say I might go lower than that. Let me think on that. Go about 40%. Going to go about 40% on him. So I want to kind of get him. I want to own them to the odds that they are likely to be in the perfect lineup. Like if I think a guy has about a 40% chance of putting up, one of the best 5 scores on the slate, that's where I want to own him. That's how I set my exposures. I don't have videos on Super Draft strategy. Super Draft's very new. I don't have videos on strategy for it. I haven't been studied very deeply. I try to play guys with high multipliers and then hope that they hit. Like I don't play the 1x on Super Draft almost ever, but I haven't studied it. We haven't done numerical studies. Most of the things that I talk about for NFL are things that I've studied. I've looked at the stats for, but not with Super Draft. I haven't been able to. Michael, you got to specify FanDuel or DraftKings with this type of question. But I tend to not get silly in GPPs with someone like Zay Jones on a FanDuel where the price doesn't change and you're just looking for the highest scoring player on the slate. I do take shots like that at captain on DraftKings where you never know. Because salary, I don't think Zay Jones is going to outscore Phillip Rivers or Derek Carr, for example, on FanDuel. Unlikely. But that doesn't mean that he can't be the captain on DraftKings where salary has a big part of effect on things. So just to break that down. But take a look at what I just did. So I set a limit of 45% on Keenan Allen here. Now I'm getting a lot more Tyrell Williams that I want. But I'm getting a lot of these quarterbacks. I need a lot more of my money badger. So what I'm going to do is start to mess with the projections a little bit. Going to slap an Adore on the money badger. I want quite a bit of him. I just like I like kickers with nicknames. Sorry. At me if you don't like it. You don't have to watch this. But if you are watching this video, Like and subscribe. I always forget to tell you. I wait until the end. You guys already click off. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this shit. Okay? When you like the video, I know that you're watching. When you subscribe, it tells me to do another video. Like, oh, I have subscribers. Let's do another fucking video. If not, I'll just, start doing these just for DFS Army VIPs. That's all good. Geek, look at the last few games. They only throw, Hunter says, they only throw to 2 wide receivers, period. I'm aware, Hunter, man. I'm aware. I know this. But I'm also aware of the Chargers as a team. And all of a sudden, Travis Benjamin would bust out with like a big catch and win you the tournament. So I'm looking at Patton that way. It's not a guy I want to have 20% exposure to, but it's a warm body. He's out there running around. And, on DraftKings, I want to get a couple of shares of him just in case they throw it to him. But I'm very well aware. Oakland is a team you want to throw against. The Chargers want to throw. Again, this is very simple. I think it might be Hunter Henry, and this is Hunter where I'm coming from. I think Hunter Henry, I think Keenan Allen in the slot is fine, but Hunter Henry and Mike Williams are the red zone guys. They're the end zone guys. They're the touchdown scores. So, yeah, I want this, but I probably – and also the Chargers throw to the running backs. So, Hunter, this is the challenge. You're going to see this shit tonight. What if they're throwing it to Eckler? What if they're throwing it to Marvin Gordon? They throw to the running. They do their best running back damage via the pass. That's why I included the running backs in my stacks with Rivers, because the way the Chargers operate, their running backs do the most damage in the passing game, not in the running game. This has been the Chargers offense for 15 years. It hasn't changed since Rivers. It's been going back years. We used to see it with Danny Woodhead. Same shit. It was that hurry up roll, whichever running back was out there, and that could be Eckler, that would get the points. Yeah, we're in agreement. We love Henry, but that's what I'm saying too. I love Henry here. Keenan Allen, he's fine. He's been overpriced on main slates for me. He's not doing enough. I want him, but again, I want to limit him so I can get these other guys. I want to get lots of Henry. Where's Hunter Henry? He's not showing up. Like, that's not going to work for me. So this is what I'm saying. This is what you got to do. Trust but verify, guys. Slap a like on that pick. This is what I'm doing. I'm going through my flex exposure. I'm like, hey, this is a guy I love. Where is he? He's not showing up. Bullshit. Josh Jacobs. Why am I not getting enough Josh Jacobs? So I want those. These are turds. Marcel Ademan, he doesn't even fucking play. I don't want to waste two lineups on this guy. I'm probably going to give him a 0. He might not even be active tonight, right? Trevor Davis, who the fuck is that? Never heard of him. Get out of here. DeAndre Washington, almost no chance. I don't need these level of turds. X him out. Patton, okay. I'll take a little Patton. But this is how you do it. So I'm going to run it again and again and again until I start to see exactly the mix of players that I want. Got to mix up the turds. When you mix up the turds, you get like a turd stew. Turd stew in your lineups. Where's the money badger, man? Damn. Still not getting enough money badger. Even with I must have loved him in. Oh, there we go. That's why. Guys, pro tip. Pro tip. This is really important. You just watched me fuck something up. And so I'm glad, because I want to it gives me an opportunity to give you a pro tip. If you like or change a projection under the MVP tab, it does not affect the flex. So I'm just stupidly over here changing projections in the MVP. Like, hey, how come this isn't affecting my player pool? Oh, because I didn't do it in the flex. Now watch the difference when we actually do it in the flex. First one, I got to slap a love on him. Where's my honey badger, my money badger? Let's do that. Let's try this again. I'm glad you saw it. It's easy to mess these things up. Mistakes like, hey, how come I'm not getting it? It's not working for me. It's working fine. Just got to do it the right way. MVP tab to change MVP exposures. MVP tab to change MVP projections. Flex tab for flex. Mixing up the turds. All right, so check it out. Now I've put a love on the Money Badger. I've put a love. He went up from 12% to 22. I put a love on Hunter Henry. We're getting a lot more of that. Mike Williams is here. So now I'm starting to get a little bit better mix of players that I want. Don't like Melvin Gordon that low. So, I'm going to keep massaging this. Now that I've done this, you can bet that I'm max entering tonight because I've already spent time starting to fuck around with my system here. But the most important thing was I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an overview of what we've done to change the Domination Station for single game contests. You've got a breakdown of this entire slate. Notes posted already since last night. Here's the FanDuel notes here. You see similar approach to me. Josh, again, going to be a little bit higher on Josh Jacobs than I'm going to be. And he does not have Hunter Henry. I will have some Hunter Henry in here. But you saw my exposures. You can follow me. You could follow Josh's advice. You could do your own thing. I advise you to do your own thing most of the time. Our goal in DFS Army and my goal is not to tell you who to play. It's to break down the slate, give you my logic, and then you use your smarts, your capabilities, your insight to come up with your lineups and then live or die with what you decide. Okay, I'm more trying to break down this game, explain possible scenarios of what can happen for you. This is what I do with all of my stuff. And then let you decide. Unless it's like Latz Murray 2 weeks ago or Jalen Samuel last week. Like, if you weren't, no, I'm going to tell you what to do there. Play those motherfuckers. All in. And if you don't, I will call you bad at DFS. But outside of that, I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to break down the game, give you what I'm probably going to do, show you, but you can put your own twist on it. Hunter is a great example. Hunter Sinclair. My man is crushing these tournaments, doing advanced calculations, figuring out different game stacks based around different approaches. What happens if it's a Oakland onslaught, Oakland defense, does well. Chargers can't get anything going. What happens if the opposite in the Chargers defense? Remember, Chargers defense last week completely stifled the Packers. There is a game script here where the Chargers just smashed the Raiders. This is a division game. Absolutely can happen. They just smash them. The running game gets off, and wow, the Raiders have been stopping the run. Doesn't matter. The running game gets off. The passing game, Chargers defense is dominant. There is an actual game script that wouldn't shock anyone. Chargers are road favorites. Wouldn't shock anyone if that happened. It certainly wouldn't shock me. I still think the Raiders are fool's gold in a lot of ways. I don't think they're a good team. I think they're going to collapse. I don't like the coaching. I don't like the players. There's a lot about that team I just don't like. I feel like smoke and mirrors, but I could be, what the fuck do I know? I don't know. I could see it, but I don't know. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up. If there's no more questions, good luck tonight. Let's take down this tournament. It's not a great NBA night. It's a late slate for NBA. Only 4 games. I'm going to play some. I'm going to try to get this shit done early so I can play a little NBA. But it's not an NBA night. It's a better football night. A great game, potentially. A divisional game. Another piece of advice for the few of you. Hunter's putting out an argument, an article. VIP only. DFS Army subscribers. If you're not a DFS Army subscriber, go to dfsarmy.com, get signed up. Hunter's putting out a game script article soon. Hunter, we need to get you a promo code like Hunter. If it was me, I would want to sign up with Hunter's promo code. And then I'd go to Hunter in Slack and be like, dude, I signed up under your promo code. Help a brother out. I'd be DMing you all the time. So tell Bobby to get Hunter a promo code. And then anyone who signs up, we're going to be like, this is your guy. We're going to have chats. I would do it. I'm DMing him all day anyway. I didn't even sign up under his fucking code. I DM Hunter all day. I'm like, dude, what should I do? So there we go. Where was I? Go to DFS Army, sign up as a VIP, get access to the Domination Station, get access to the sheets. And very important, guys, here's what I do. This is not a game where I'm dying to... Nice. This is not a game this is not a week where I'm dying to fade the Thursday night, but play the Thursday to Monday slate. I'm probably just avoiding it. I'm probably just avoiding it. So I'm letting you know most weeks what I end up doing for these shitty ass primetime games. And I don't mind doing it again this week because there's no one in this game outside of maybe Hunter Henry that I think is a cash game. Yeah, DS has been ridiculous. DS has been spitting fucking fire in NBA. Like, what a start to the season. Some people have been, you guys, by the way, we're getting on a tangent here, but you guys have been sending me screenshots of shit I've never seen before. Like, you enter 20 lineups and all 20 finish in the money. Do you know how unusual that is? Like, when you talk about spitting fire, it's been a great start to the NBA season. Spitting fire. Keith, man. Of course we play Keith. That guy was 7X on the Domination Station. 7X. Some people didn't play him. I'm like, what are you doing? The Dom says, play some fucking shitty ass player I never heard of, 3,200 point guard. Guy goes off for 35 points. It says, load up on Keith. Like, everybody's like, I didn't play him. What are you doing? And Alex, let me let you in on a little secret. NBA is the sport I follow the least, or not the least. I don't follow it. I don't watch the games. I don't pay attention to the players. I don't know what team what player is on for the most part. I don't know what team Giannis Antetokounmpo. Not only that, I can't pronounce his name. I don't know what team he's on. I know it's in the North. It's Milwaukee, Minnesota, somewhere over there. But it's my most profitable sport by far. I make more money in NBA than anything else. It's every day. It's very predictable. I just run the Dom. It suits my style of play, which is very much to take the value and go over all in on the value. I'm not a contrarian guy when it comes to NBA. When you tell me some 3K point guard is starting, I just play him. I go all in. And then I hear other people who are more contrarian. I go, he's going to be very high owned. You should not play him. I don't give a fuck. I'll have more than they do. Okay? When that Gorgon guy, when some fucking center named Gorgon or Gozman or Bogdan or whatever from the Eastern Europe is starting, I play him 100%. Oh, it's going to be very high. I don't give a fuck. I'll be higher owned than you. That's how I play NBA. I'm not going to do my Eastern European accent, guys. It's not happening. Don't ask for it. It's not happening. Not here. I save those for the fantasy basketball breakdowns. That's it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you for joining me. Let's crush it tonight. A fun slate. Finally, let's hope that this game plays out the way that the Vegas lines say it will. Because that'll be a fun game to watch. And I'm sick of watching shitty ass primetime games. My wife comes in, she's like, hey, you want to watch some TV? It'll be like halftime, Giants are getting smashed by the Cowboys or some fucking shitty ass game like that. I'm like, you know what? Now I'll watch this later. Record. Let's watch some Bachelorette instead. If it was a great game, I wouldn't watch Bachelorette. I wouldn't watch Bachelor. But, you know, shitty game, let's turn on Bachelor. See Chris Randone up there. What up, Chris? Anyway, that's it for this one, guys. Deuces. I'll see you back next time for another Showdown breakdown. Where my turds at? We're going to start having contests. Wait, one last thing. I'm going to get some Where My Turds At shirt made, t-shirts made, and I'm going to start posting contests during these broadcasts where you guys can win that shit. Win a Where My Turds At t-shirt. I'm going to start doing those. Like, I'm going to be promotional. It's going to force me to do these every week. So look out for a Where My Turds At t-shirt contest coming soon. Deuces, everyone.